There's a moment in life when bedtime quietly shifts. No announcement, no discussion, no dramatic decision. It just happens earlier than you expect. One day you're someone who stays up late because you can, and the next you're glancing at the clock and thinking, well, that's probably enough for today. What's interesting is how reasonable it feels. There's no rebellion, no sense of missing out. You're not tired in a dramatic way, you're just done. The day has had its say, and you've listened politely. Even the idea of staying up feels like unnecessary effort, like insisting on dessert when you're already perfectly content. You start planning evenings differently without quite realizing it. Films get paused halfway through with the calm confidence that they'll still exist tomorrow. Books fall gently onto the bedside table instead of being finished. There's a quiet satisfaction in knowing you don't have to push yourself anymore. You've earned the right to stop. And the best part is the morning, waking up earlier, doesn't feel like punishment. It feels spacious. There's time for tea, for sitting quietly, for easing into the day without rushing. You realize that the earlier bedtime wasn't about getting older. It was about choosing peace over resistance. So when you find yourself heading to bed earlier than you once would have, don't fight it. You're not missing anything. You're simply listening to a quieter rhythm. Now, and honestly, it's a rather pleasant one to fall asleep to. There's a quiet moment that sneaks up on you at some point in life, when you realize you've picked something up again that you once put down for good, a hobby, something you were absolutely certain you'd outgrown, not abandoned temporarily, finished with. Maybe it's an old book or a bit of music you haven't listened to in years. Maybe it's something you haven't even thought about for decades. You don't make a big decision about it, you just find yourself doing it, almost by accident, and wondering why you ever stopped. What's different now is the pace. You're not trying to be good at it. You're not trying to turn it into anything. You're just enjoying the shape of it, the familiarity, the feeling of your hands remembering what to do before your head catches up. It's strangely comforting, like meeting an old friend and realizing you don't need to impress each other anymore. And there's no urgency. No sense that it has to lead anywhere. If anything, the joy comes from knowing it doesn't. You can put it down again tomorrow and pick it up next month, and it will still be there, patient, unbothered. It's a small reminder that not everything in life needs to move forward. Some things are happy to wait for you to come back, quietly, when you're ready. And when they do, they fit into your life in a way they never quite did the first time around. Weekends used to arrive with a bit of drama. There was anticipation, plans, a sense that something had to happen. At some point, though, the rhythm changes quietly, without announcement, and weekends become something else entirely. You still notice Friday, of course, but instead of excitement, it's more like relief, a gentle exhale. The weekend isn't a blank canvas anymore. It's a softer version of the week, familiar, predictable, comforting. Saturday mornings arrive earlier than they used to, often without effort. You wake up naturally sometimes before the alarm, and there's a brief moment of confusion before you remember there's nowhere you have to be, and somehow that's better than sleeping in ever was. You find yourself doing small, unremarkable things, a bit of tidying, a slow cup of tea, maybe a walk that has no real destination. There's no rush to make the most of it. The enjoyment is quieter now, tucked into the spaces between tasks, and then Sunday comes along carrying that familiar feeling that used to mean dread. But even that softens with time. It becomes more about easing into the week than resisting it. You prepare gently, you put things in their place, you wind down without fighting the clock. Nothing about weekends is worse. They're just different, less loud, less ambitious, more forgiving. And somewhere along the way, you realize this new rhythm suits you perfectly. It's not about escaping life anymore. It's about settling comfortably into it. There's a particular kind of joy that sneaks up on you as you get older, and it's not the big, dramatic kind, it's the joy of small improvements. The kind no one else notices, and honestly, you don't really want them to. It's things like finally fixing a cupboard door that's been slightly off for years. Nothing dramatic changes. The kitchen looks the same, but every time you open it, there's a tiny moment of satisfaction, a quiet sense that the world is, at least in this one small corner, behaving itself, or replacing something that was technically working, but only just a kettle that took too long, a light bulb that flickered, a drawer that needed a very specific jiggle. Once it's sorted, life doesn't get better in a noticeable way. It just gets smoother, and that smoothness starts to matter. What's strange is how invisible these improvements are to everyone else. You don't announce them, you don't point them out, you simply enjoy them privately, like a small secret between you and your environment, a mutual understanding that things are now slightly improved. And the more of these tiny fixes you make, the calmer everything feels, not because anything big has changed, but because fewer things are quietly irritating you, fewer sighs, fewer eye rolls, fewer moments of mild resistance. So when you catch yourself feeling oddly pleased about a quieter hinge or a better fitting lid, don't dismiss it. That's not boredom, that's wisdom. It's the quiet joy of small, everyday improvements, the kind that make life feel just a little bit more settled, one unnoticed upgrade at a time.